Stevenson's rocket was built by Robert Stevenson and Company in 1829. It was the world's first modern steam locomotive and set the standard for 150 years. After Rocket's success, the railways expanded rapidly, and for the first time, huge numbers of people were able to move across the world.
Quite simply, it's perhaps the most important steam railway locomotive in the world. Rocket was designed for the world's first mainline railway, and it was the first really successful locomotive to do that job.
Was it something about its boiler that made it more efficient than the earlier models?
It had a good boiler, a multi-tube boiler, something which was much more efficient at boiling water than previous boilers.
It was a good heat exchanger, wasn't it? With
yes.
all those, instead of a single tube, it had lots of...
That's right, lots more tubes to draw the fire through the boiler.
Bigger surface area and that sort of thing. Yeah.
Heating surface, that's exactly right. So it had that. Also, unlike previous steam locomotives, it had got rid of all the linkages, just a simple cylinder and connecting rod driving the wheel.
So it could translate more of the power of the steam generated into directly driving the wheels.
That's right.
So were they the ones that came up with the blast pipe? Because that was quite a significant improvement on the efficiency of the boiler, the way it could create a partial vacuum in the firebox and draw the air through.
No, they didn't come up with anything that was actually new to Rocket. The important thing about Rocket was it brought all these separate innovations together into one locomotive.
The Rocket was built to compete in the Rainhill trials held by the Liverpool and Manchester Railway to choose between competing engine designs. The Rocket won.
It's quite impressive seeing it sitting there in the museum when you think that it's been a working locomotive.
Rocket was built to win a prize, not to be a substantial locomotive for running the railway.
A technology demonstrator, really.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it was sufficiently successful. The Liverpool and Manchester Railway directors immediately ordered 4 more rockets, or rocket design, and then another 4. So it was the first class of locomotive to be built. But even a year later, it had been superseded because the progress, suddenly, that was the breakthrough.
Then obviously there's an expansion from there of the railway system. How long did that take after the trials of the Rocket?
In Britain, it was massively quick. So there was a main line between Birmingham and Manchester by 1837. There was a line between London and Birmingham in 1838. And the spread was enormously quick. It had in effect the makings of a national system by 1850, and that's only 20 years after the Liverpool and Manchester. Science Museum has had Rocket in its collection since 1862, and it's a matter of great personal pride to me that I have had some association with Stevenson's Rocket during my time at the museum.
Yeah. I think as a scientist what inspires me about it's the way this group of people saw a problem, found a solution, and drew on the existing technology, adapted it, and very quickly then learnt how to improve it. And it was that sense of foresight, the way they were looking ahead. And I think that's a kind of model that when we look at the sorts of things we've got to solve now, I mean, whether we come up with more efficient cars, do we improve our public transport system, I think what something like Rocket embodies is that spirit of innovation and experimentation that is really at the heart of finding solutions to these sorts of problems.